Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Can you hear and see us?
Hey.
Somebody give us a shout out in the comments so we can see that we're on. I see some names, some friends. Robin's here. SJ is here. Nicolette, can somebody tell us if they can see and hear us okay? In the chat? Yes, awesome. Okay, it usually takes a minute and then everybody goes, yes. Excellent. So glad. We're glad to have you. Thanks for coming today from all over. I saw some great comments. Everybody showing up from different points. Hope you have your drink ready. It is a happy hour. I have water. The pain of being in charge, right? Well, welcome to tonight's webinar presented by Sisters in Crime. I am Lori Rader-Day. I'm the National President of Sisters in Crime, as well as an author, and I'm going to be moderating tonight. Tonight's session is Sisters in Crime celebrates the Left Coast Crime 2020 Guests of Honor. Left Coast Crime is a favorite event of crime fiction authors and sadly had to be canceled this year after one day. Give a shout out in the comments if you were there. It was I understand it's a hard thing to do, but they did the right thing. They had to do it for the safety of everybody. So we at Sisters in Crime really just wanted to highlight the work of the LCC Guests of Honor who didn't quite get the time on stage that they deserved. We'd also like to celebrate the work of the Left Coast Crime Standing Committee and the Murders of Beach San Diego Committee, who did such great work to put the show on and then had to take it down, which I know must have been very, very difficult. So thank you to all volunteers who do that work. And we just hope to be back with you in Albuquerque next year. Just a few notes before I introduce our speakers today. Sisters in Crime is the only organization of its kind, an international society of writers, readers, agents, editors, publicists, librarians, bookstore owners, and other women and men who support our unique mission to promote the ongoing advancement, recognition, and professional development of women crime writers. To learn more about Sisters in Crime and the many ways we support our members across the globe and at the chapter level, please visit sistersincrime.org. There's a couple of housekeeping notes. The best browsers to use if you're having trouble would be Google Chrome or Firefox. If you're using one of those browsers and you're still experiencing technical problems, a couple of things to try. You can try leaving and coming back again. That's just a real quick thing you could do on your own to try to get the sound, if it's not quite working, to work. But if you need some help, if that's not working, try the Get Audio or Video Help button. It's in the lower left corner of your screen. Or you can click the help button at the top right of your screen and click on compatibility mode. I don't even know what that means, but that's a thing that someone has given me to say. But you can get help from the Crowdcast people. So that's the next thing to try. And if you want to ask a question of any of the authors, use the Ask a Question button, which is in the middle of the bottom of your screen. And I'll try to get to as many of those as I can, okay? Turn my video down or turn my sound down? I'm echoing.
You sound good over here.
Yeah, you sound fine.
You hear yourself?
That's interesting because I'm wearing headphones.
No echo here. It sounds good.
Oh, okay. So somebody else is saying I'm not echoing. So Sarah, that might just be you, hon. You might try leaving and coming back again and maybe turning your sound down. Maybe that might help. Okay. But again, if these things keep happening, go ahead and click on the help and see if Crowdcast can help you, because that is what we pay them for. And of course, use the chat to talk to each other, of course. So without further ado, please welcome the guests of honor from Left Coast Crime 2020. Rachel Howzell Hall writes the Detective Eloise Norton series, including the acclaimed Land of Shadows. She also received acclaim for her standalone, They All Fall Down. Her next book is also a standalone, and Now She's Gone, which is out in September.
Yay.
And I heard a noise.
That was me saying yay.
Somebody's agreeing with me. Yeah, out in September. T. Jefferson Parker is the author of more than 20 novels, including the Edgar Award winners Silent Joe and California Girl. He writes several series, including the Roland Ford series, in which a new book, Then She Vanished, is out in August. So yay for out in August too. And I did notice that, and now she's gone from Rachel, and then she vanished from Jeff.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can go on tour together, I think.
Yeah.
The She's Gone tour. And then we have Matt Coyle, who writes the Rick Cahill PI series, including his award-winning debut, Yesterday's Echo, as well as Night Tremors, and his latest, Lost Tomorrows, was that just out, Matt? Or, no, it's out in December. Okay. And then Blind Vigil comes out in December. So you guys all have new books coming out this fall, which is great news. And all our guests live in Southern California on the left coast, as you might imagine. So to get started, I love, whenever I'm doing an event with somebody else, I just love to hear origin stories. I love to see how other writers got their start. So could each of you tell me about your origin story, how you got started writing and how you found your way to crime writing? And I'm going to start with Rachel. Ladies first.
Ladies
how
first.
Did you get started?
So I probably came out of the womb with the need to write everywhere. I had a big brother and he had books and yearbooks, and I would write captions for those things. And, that would annoy the hell out of him because why are you writing my shit, right? But I had this need to narrate stories of people I never met. And, my parents were fine with me writing. I kept journals all throughout my life, which I still have. And I went to school, went to UC Santa Cruz I did English American literature and, did some writing there. And then one of my first real jobs after my job at ARCO, I was a paralegal for the Exxon Valdez case, coming from Santa Cruz. That was quite interesting working for a big oil company, but they paid every Friday. And I was 22 and I liked shoes. So my first real job was at Penn Center USA West, which was a part of Penn American Center. And that's where I got to see real everyday writers doing their thing. And that's where I met, Gary Phillips and Jerry Tervalon and that group. And I saw that it was actually possible to do this thing and to exist as just a regular person with a story to tell. And that's when I started writing my first novel, A Quiet Storm.
But was A Quiet Storm a mystery or was it a crime story?
It had tinges of it. So it was about a Black family in Los Angeles who is dealing with mental illness. And the husband of the woman who's diagnosed with bipolar disorder disappears. And so Simon & Schuster, they labeled it psychological suspense. So it wasn't true. I wasn't in the world yet, but I still was fascinated with people disappearing and bad things happening when you ignore the obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a side note is that the book that was in Rory's book club?
Yes. Who knew that?
Well, it was on your bio on your website.
Yes.
And I was like, I am here for all your Gilmore Girl connections. I mean, boys, just turn your head for a second. Gilmore Girls. I love it. So
yeah,
we'll talk.
Yeah, so that was the book that was put into Rory's book club.
I love that.
Cool.
I love that little detail.
Yeah.
Jeff, how about you? How did you get started?
Well, I was kind of a story-loving boy. Mom used to read to me. When I learned to read, I took to stories, nimbly, liked them, loved them. I think I wanted to be a writer from about high school on, but I didn't do anything about it until after college. I just glided through as an English major, thinking about things, looking at the world around me, doing my homework. And, I got out of college and I sat down and wrote a novel. It was a short little novel, 300-page manuscript. It was a Bildungsroman about a young man growing up in Newport Beach, surfer whose father absconds with the company fortune and his secretary. And this young man decides that he needs to go track down his father and see why he did all this. An editor in New York read it. He said, I can't publish this, and nobody in New York will publish this because people in the United States don't care about surfers living in California. But you finish the manuscript, you have a little bit of talent, and you have a lot of determination because you finished the manuscript. And a lot of writers never get that far. So he said, write something different, write something more commercial, look at the New York Times bestseller list, see what's selling, and write something like that. So I did exactly what he said. I read through the list, and I saw some mystery suspense kind of books on there that I knew the authors and I kind of liked, and I thought, well, I'm gonna do that. So I wrote a police story, Laguna Heat, and that book did really well, got good reviews, and HBO made a movie out of it a couple years later, and that set me on the track of crime writing for the next 35 years. You know, I just kept writing crime stories because people seemed to like them, and that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Okay, before we go to Matt, I have to ask, who has birds?
Not me.
Pardon?
Jeff, do you have parakeets? Do you have birds?
Oh yeah, Leo. Got a problem?
It took me a little while. I just keep hearing like, what is that noise? And then I'm finally like, oh, somebody has birds. But we get to meet him.
He was happy to hear them. I think he's going to move him. He was happy to hear Jeff's voice.
Okay. He's like, I want to talk. I want to be a star. Oh, there you go.
Bye, bird. Bye, bird. I couldn't resist.
Well, I liked Leo. I think Leo was our fifth panelist here. We enjoyed him. Maybe we'll get to Leo. We'll bring Leo back at the end so we can meet him.
Okay, sort of an encore. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Matt, how about you? How'd you get started?
Well, it's funny. All three of us, or the three of the guests of honor, are all English majors. So,
yay! It's
fun to put that to use. Yeah, I was a crime fan from when I was a kid. I started with Agatha Christie and Conan Doyle, and I think at a young age you like that aspect of puzzle pieces and right and wrong, and it's all black and white and easy. You figure it out. It's the good guy wins, the bad guy loses. Then I read Raymond Chandler when I was probably 13 or 14. I went, wait a second, it's not all black and white; it's gray. So I knew at that age that I wanted to become a crime writer, and what they didn't tell me is you have to actually write to become a writer. So, 3 years later, when I was working for the Fourth Golf Company, I helped put out a business in 10 months. I decided when this thing goes down, I'm going to either write a book or I can't talk about it anymore. I got to find a career instead of just going from job to job. So I did. I wrote the company went out of business, and in 5 months I wrote a first draft. Well, I actually thought it was a book, but of course it was a first draft. And 10 years later, I finally got it published in about the 6th or 7th iteration. But yeah, the writing every day part. Actually, when I lost that job, or it went away for everybody, I was writing every day on my little IBM ThinkPad used computer with the floppy disk on my kitchen table, and it was really some of the best 5 months of my life. Just I finally realized, good or bad, this is what I should be doing. And of course, I thought once I finished this first draft, which I thought was a book, I didn't know much about the biz, but I knew you had to get an agent, and then she had to get a book deal for you. And I thought, well, I'll get the agent, get the book deal, I'll buy the house in La Jolla, I'll be set for life, never have a day job again. Luckily, a guy I used to work for in the golf business called me, no joke, a week after I finished my first draft, which I thought was a book. He said, hey, we need help over here with this sports collectible company. You want to come over? I said, well, Eric, I just wrote a book, and probably all going to blow up for me very soon. But yeah, I'll come over and help you guys out. And I worked there for 16 years. And I wrote, I got 6 books published as I was working there for 16 years, but I quit in 2018 to write full time. So that's my origin story.
I love it.
That's funny how you say the IBM ThinkPad with the floppy disk. I still have my very first acceptance from my agent back in 2000, and it was sent from my Netscape. It was Netscape or AOL account. It's like, oh my God, you've been around for a very long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So my next question is about Left Coast crime. Have you all been to Left Coast crime before? Probably. What were the events that you were most looking forward to that you didn't get to participate in? And I'm going to go with Matt first, because as Toastmaster, I feel like you had some early duties that you would have been at work very soon.
Yeah. first of all, everybody, as you mentioned, everybody behind the scenes did a great job of putting that on and having to deal with all the iterations of, well, we think we're good through tomorrow, what have you. And they, I feel sorry for all the people behind the scenes because they really worked their butts off and did a great job. It really was a great one-day conference. Honestly, I was really busy that first day because I kept getting slid into panels where somebody had left. So, which is great because I like coming in cold anyway. But honestly, I was going to interview Jeff. That was one of my duties and one of the things I wanted to do. And I'm sorry I missed that opportunity, although I've interviewed him before, but it's always a great talk. And I always like the awards dinner because I like most people, I sponsor a table and get to meet some readers that I may not know. And I usually buy lunch for 6 or 7 readers as well, like throughout the week. And that's always a fun time too, because I really like being able to talk to new readers, sometimes old readers. And I think when you go to those conferences, any chance you can get to meet readers or people you never would is a good idea.
Now, do you have a question that you were going to ask Jeff that you want to ask today?
Well, you're going to ask it at the end, so I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Next. We'll wait for me to ask it then. How about you, Jeff? What were you looking forward to?
Well, let's see. I was looking forward to my talk with Matt. Back at you. We've done it before, and I like talking to you. And that's easy duty talking to you. You know, we know each other. We get along. It's fun. Right. I was looking forward to giving away some kind of cool books that I just very recently published. A short story called Mamba Girl, which was done by a small publisher, Jim Seals, ASAP Publishing. It's kind of a faux leather-bound, illustrated, lavishly produced short story, and it's a butt-kicking short story. And I was going to give that to my table mates because I had a table sponsored also. I was bummed that I couldn't do that, and I was looking forward, especially to anything to do with craft. I like talking to writers about craft, especially people who are beginning, whatever age, because I think I can be helpful because I've done so much. I've been at it for so long, and I like young writers, you know, beginning writers, and I was looking forward to helping as I might, you know.
Okay, Rachel, how about you? What were you looking forward to most?
I missed all of it. I mean, from the hotel room, which I like hotel rooms, and you know, I like cleanliness and all that. I being honest, I missed being with writers and readers and everyone talking about books and geeking out over crime. I missed my conversation with David Corbett, which then turned into my conversation with Kelly Garrett. And it would have been an awesome kind of kick-ass conversation with either of them. And I missed that, talking about, you know, writing today and diversity issues, which are so relevant even now as we sit here. I was looking forward to my husband and daughter coming down for Saturday night. My daughter, like me, she likes hotel rooms too, and she likes field trips. So, you know, getting to share once again this life of mine with her and being surrounded by book people, and she's, you know, been brought up around book people and interesting folks. So I missed that. I missed, you know, driving back without feeling stressed out about the pandemic. You know, I missed the ease of being at a conference. So
yeah,
it was a great loss. Even with the rain, it was going to be a great weekend. But, you know, and thank you again to you and everyone who, you know, helped make this happen. You know, I remember getting the email from Lisa Brackman 2 years ago saying, you know, that I'd been selected for a guest of honor, and I couldn't believe it because, you know, my storyline tends to be kind of weird and crazy and tragic sometimes. And so it's like, me being honored? Oh my God. But then when it was canceled, it's like, yeah, that's
of course.
storyline. So, you know, it's just an interesting life.
But here we are. We're celebrating all of you. It's not as good as being
I have that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Where's yours, Matt? There it is.
Nice.
Real nice. Okay, so speaking of left coast, so you're all from California. I think 2 are from LA. I don't know if I can get a feed up. San Diego?
San Diego.
Yeah. Okay. And you write it seems like most of your stories are set on the West Coast. What draws you to writing about West Coast stories, other than the fact that that's the area you know? Is there a reason? Is something speaks to you about West Coast stories? Jeff, how about you go first?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've always felt very much vested in where I live. I haven't moved around much. I was born in LA. We moved to Orange County, our family, when I was 5. And then I moved out of Orange County when I was 45 to San Diego. So my whole life is in Southern California. And as a longtime Orange County, my first 4 or 5 books were set in Orange County. And I just feel so vested in this area. I've been married here. I've buried loved ones here. I've raised children here. I love our California history. I'm proud of California, Southern California, especially just as just to be proud of where you're from, like having your favorite sports team or something. And I really like, as a writer, I like being able to wake up in the morning and go about my day and live my life knowing that my material is directly in front of my snout the whole time. It's right there. And I like living that way. I like being on the job, kind of like my old reporting days. I was a reporter for years. And so being a novelist is akin to that, and so California is my home, and I'm very much a California boy. And I think we have a great, varied, diverse, look at what we have and what endless riches and endless material.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt? You're a California boy too. How do you feel about things?
Yeah, I used to have a favorite sports team too, and then they left for LA. So
don't worry, we don't really pay much attention to.
I know nobody wanted them.
They're getting a new stadium now, so
don't get me started. A lot like Jeff, I really like being in the area where I write because it's so easy. Just go out in your car and drive for a couple hours and not only get vibes, but get ideas. And actually, I look a lot of open houses for places where my characters live. And I think Southern California, of course, it has a long tradition of crime writing, but it also has, LA is particularly, but San Diego has it as well, is where people come from all over the country and even world to kind of rebirth themselves. They're to strive for the golden goose, what have you. And many, obviously most fall short. And what does that do? And especially, and also there's a dichotomy of you can reach for the star, fall short, and land lower than you started at. And then right within reach are there people that have, they've gotten their star. So I think that kind of dichotomy builds tension. And of course, that's what you're looking for when you're writing anything, but especially crime.
Cool. Okay.
And I do hate
Rachel, what do you think?
I am an Angelino to the day I die. I went away 4 years to Santa Cruz, but that's still California. But I quickly came back to LA because, there's nowhere else like this place. And of course, people see LA on TV and have an opinion of what they think LA is. And you have people who transplant here from other places and, put on LA and pretend that's what LA is. And it's not. And I like poking at that in my stories. I like showing the real stories of real Angelinos, especially those of us who've been here all our lives, and the inside jokes about places that used to be that no longer are, but you still think about them because the sign is still hanging there. Mm-hmm. I like that everyone's here and no one's here, and that you have no idea who's rich sometimes and who's not, because the guy in the torn jeans could either be a producer or homeless. You have no idea who people are. And I love that. There's mystery about that. I love that there are lots of highways and dark places and light places and, beaches filled with plankton that light up at night at certain times of the year. And then it stinks. And you're like, what is that smell? I can't tell if it's plankton or weed. I love that about the city and about Southern California. And I will write about it forever because there are so many stories here and authentic, true people who also love and loathe this place.
So I think Matt mentioned Raymond Chandler as one of his influences. Can you talk about some of your favorite influences or just some current favorites, left coast writers and books? Matt, how about you go first?
just want to comment about the stink that Rachel was talking about. We had it. They had the red tide about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was for 3 weeks of stink, and I live semi-inland. Anyway, people think it's all paradise out here. It's not.
Yeah, paradise has a cost.
She was making it sound too good, so now you have to keep us all out, right?
That's Southern California.
Yep.
Well, we mentioned obviously major influence for me is Raymond Chandler, Ross McDonald. I don't want to make this a Jeff Parker show, but Jeff was a big influence for me. I was taking a writing class from Carolyn Wheat, who I think Jeff knows. UC San Diego Extension night classes, and I don't think we actually read one of your books, Jeff, but she gave me, or maybe we did. It was, your first Edgar. I'm blanking right now, of course. Silent Joe. She gave me Silent Joe, and I was writing my first book, that first draft that was done so many different, or the draft was done so many different times, but it really clicked me in. Something I sort of knew in the back of my head, but the character was king. When I read that book, I realized for me, the crime I wanted to write about were about characters and how the crimes, formed them as opposed to them. They solved the crimes, but and so Jeff was a huge influence for me with that. That book really changed my direction maybe a bit about what I want to write about. I love Rachel's books too. She was talking about a different part of LA that you like, that we've read through her books, but you don't see that much on TV. Maybe you're seeing a little bit more with the wide variety of things we can watch now and streaming and cable and everything. Of course, Michael Connelly and Robert Grace are all huge influences for me. And all these people are really good people, and they all really help each other, and they help us. And Jeff blurred my second book, and Bob Grace blurred my second book, which is, for people out there listening, that's a mistake. So when you want to get one big name, not two on one book. And of course, I didn't really know anybody that well, and I figured, well, neither one of these guys is going to say yes. And they both did. So, I got to hit you up.
Mystery people turn out to be great people, and they all said yes. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who could have thought?
Rachel, how about you? Who are your influences or your current favorite reads?
All those that Matt mentioned, but also Walter Mosley, because he wrote about Central Avenue, and we used to live on Central Avenue. So it's like, oh my God. And then Paula L. Wood, who wrote about the area where I live right now. And, it's so timely, especially with what's happening now, with the protests and everything. Gary Phillips was, again, my first introduction to noir and pulp and all things LA. He and Gar were some of the first people I read because, I knew them from Penn. And then as I moved, into the actual genre, then Naomi Hirahara and then Steph Cha, and all these people writing about this place that we all love and that we all see the same thing. It's more than just, oh, that's Randy's Donuts, but oh yeah, at Randy's Donuts, I took a guy there and we ate at the hamburger stand next to Randy's Donuts. It's more than it's past surface. Everybody can look and say, oh, Randy's Donuts because it's the big donut, but it's like, what life did you lead beneath that? And all these books go into the life you lead in these places that are landmarks. It becomes more than just, Hollywood. It becomes, your life, your memories. So yeah, those LA writers I really love the most.
Now I want a donut.
We've been delivering through Grubhub, and I've gotten a few dozen, before we start work in school. They're delicious.
Nice. Delivered to the house.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Awesome. Jeff, how about you? Who are your influences or current reads that you're thinking about?
I'll tell you, I think there's kind of been in my life a difference between inspirations and influences. And I can illustrate that by talking about my first book, Laguna Heat. I wrote that book 6 times, start to finish. Took me 6 years. The first draft that took me a year to write each draft. The first draft was bad Hemingway. The second draft was bad Chandler. The third one was bad Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The fourth one was bad Jim Harrison. The fifth one was bad Tom McGuane. Okay, those are like 5 guys I can name you right now. I've read everything that they've written 100 times, and I love those guys, and I always will. The sixth draft, the one that I sold, was all me. It was I banned my heroes, and I always try to tell young writers this: finding your voice is a matter of adoring and reading and digesting your heroes, and then kicking them out because you have to take over. And I took over in that sixth draft, and it worked. So those guys are inspirations to me. As I became a pro and fell into the crime genre and started reading the people around me, my contemporaries. I read them all, and I continue to read them all. But what I really read them for is what not to do, because they have their spots and their voices and their moods and their atmospheres. And when I read, for example, Don Winslow, who I love dearly, he's a friend and he's a great, talented writer. I just go, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to do that. Not going to try to do that because Don's doing it and Don can do it better. So I try to keep an eye on what people are doing and not get swept away or influenced too much by my contemporaries, because they're also good and they have their deals, and I want to have my deal. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. It's great advice, everybody in the chat.
I'd like to be ready
you?
what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't try to be Matt Coyle, because I can't do it.
I mean,
Well, that's one
few
reason
people
why
can.
I don't read other people's stuff while I'm actively writing, because, to read Don Winslow and to then go to my work, it's like, I can't be Don Winslow, so I suck. And that's a dangerous part, because it's like, well, Don Winslow does his thing and no one else can be Don Winslow, and I can do only what I've been given. But yeah, I do not read mystery and crime when I really want to read Ivy Pacheda's These Women.
Oh, the new one. Yeah.
Probably depress me, and so I will abstain until I'm finished with this draft.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
then I will enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, my trouble is
Megan Abbott. Every time I meet Megan Abbott, I feel like I'm making stick figures on the side of a wall when I write.
Well, Julie.
I can't.
Yeah.
She's so good we don't like her. No, we do.
Yeah.
She's really nice. Damn it. So let's talk a little bit about your current book, so we can get people in the chat to go click and buy some books maybe. Rachel, tell us about the newest book you have out right now. So They All Fall Down, I think, is
The one that was published or the one that will be
the one that
published?
they could go buy right now, or they could do a pre-sale if you want to talk about.
Well,
Go ahead.
They All Fall Down, which came out last April, was inspired by it is not Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, but it is They All Fall Down. Do I have it here? I have it here. They All Fall Down.
Nice.
And it's a story about a woman who goes to an island off the coast of Mexico to reclaim her life in some ways, and she doesn't realize that she is one of 7 sinners that have been invited to the island for past sins. So that is available now, but also you can pre-order And Now She's Gone.
Ooh, there it is.
Which comes out September 22nd, and it's about a young, meaning career-wise, young private investigator who is tasked with finding a missing woman who wants to remain missing. And so it's secrets and cat and mouse and dark humor, and of course there's always some kind of social message with me, and so there's all that, and it's available now on pre-order.
That's right. Click pre-order. And I should say that we want to support our indie bookstores, so you could use the online store for any independent bookstore near you, or you can go to the Mysterious Galaxy website. They were the bookstore of record for Left Coast Crime, and I'm sure they would appreciate your sales, as they were also canceled. Their LCC was canceled as well. Matt, tell us what your current book is, and if you've got something for pre-sale, tell us about that too.
Sure. I just want to say that Kelly says that your book, Rachel, is so good on the comments.
Oh, that's a lot of O's in that. So
you're early.
So good.
The book that's out now is Lost Tomorrows. Speaking of origin stories, it's anyone who's read Rick Cahill knows there's his wife was murdered before the first book ever started, before Yesterday's Echo ever started, and that's been a dark cloud over his head. He's been suspected for that murder throughout all these books, and he himself doesn't know what happened to her. So in this book, Lost Tomorrows, he goes back up to Santa Barbara. He went to college. He was also a cop up there, and finds out the truth about what happened to his wife. And speaking quickly about being in the area where you're right. Well, Santa Barbara is only 4 hours from San Diego, 3.5. But even and I spent some time up there, but not much lately. Even writing about somewhere that close was difficult for me, not to be able to get in my car every night and drive around and look at everything. But I spent some weekends up there. Anyway, the book that I just turned in, I just finished last edits on it a couple of days ago. Is called Blind Vigil, which is the 7th book in the Cahill series. That will come out in December, and I would just say the title says it all.
Does it?
Those who read Lost Tomorrows, they'll understand what it means.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, Jeff, how about you? What do you have available right now, and then what is up for pre-sale?
Okay. Yeah, my new book will be published in August. It's called Then She Vanished. And it is a story told by a PI. I've written 4 PI books based on this guy's voice. Roland Ford is his name. And it's the 4th in the series. And it's he's approached by an old war buddy. They fought together in Iraq. They didn't know each other well. And that buddy has since gone on to become a very influential assemblyman in Roland's district, which is here in Fallbrook, where I live. It covers Fallbrook. And this assemblyman's wife suddenly just vanishes. Then she vanished, and she's gone. Hasn't taken anything of meaning with her that they can tell. They find her car 2 or 3 days later with some ominous things in it. And the hunt is on. You know, the cops are on it. Roland is hired by this old war acquaintance to apparently to help find her, but it becomes obvious that there are some other motives at play in the honorable assemblyman. So it's a thriller, it's a mystery, it's a tale of politics. Anybody who lives in Southern California will note some currents and some politicians and some things that have gone on and are going on here that are dealt with in the book fictionally. I think it'll be fun for Southern California residents to go, oh yeah, I heard of that. So anyway, she vanished. Yeah. And I'm working on another book now. No title, no pub date or anything like that. So nothing to talk about.
Okay. Well, and that goes to my next question. So you are getting some writing done during this pandemic that we are having.
That's all I do.
Okay. Oh, so are you not affected by it? You're doing okay getting your writing done?
Oh yeah, I can't. They won't let me do anything, so I stay home and write. That's all I do. You know, I'm piling up pages like you wouldn't believe right now.
Okay, we all hate you right now, Jeff. We all hate you just a little bit. We all hate you just a little bit.
Oh yeah, well maybe I shouldn't say that. Now but I want to know back right at you. How is it affecting other writers?
Well, Matt and Rachel, how are you affected by it? Are you getting some writing done?
Yeah, I like to call it how it's affected me. Like I don't have to take any ownership of what's happened to my waistline. Affected me there. Actually, I have gotten a lot of work. I have gotten a lot of writing done. I mean, for me, it hasn't really changed that much. I did get a girlfriend right before it started, and we couldn't see each other for a while.
Now.
So that's been able to extend our relationship because she doesn't know me that well yet. But I've been pretty productive in terms of I don't have a day. I quit my day job, so I mean, it's pretty much the same, and I'm kind of a recluse anyway. But then I realized, you know, it does affect. You know, I do need people a little bit, you know. And I'm tired of the newspaper with my gloves on. Not sure if I should know. How many pages in should I take the gloves off? Who actually touched the paper?
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But I went and got my hair cut on last Wednesday. And there were more. That was like the first day in Southern California where they sort of started opening up a little bit. It was the first day to get your haircut, at least. And, you know, I driven a little bit, but they had like one of the freeways, a couple of lanes blocked off for no reason. People were driving like idiots. And I realized I'm going back in seclusion. You know, I get my hair cut, then I'm going back in. They still can still get it. So
quarantine forever. Yeah.
But I have
Rachel,
been writing wise though, for sure.
Rachel, are you getting some writing done right now?
It's really difficult. My day job, I am a writer for Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is one of the big medical centers in Los Angeles. And when I drove back home from Left Coast Crime on that Friday, I drove straight to work because I knew that, oh crap, Cedars-Sinai is going to be right in the middle of this because we're a level 1 trauma center. And I drove to work. And of course, they're like, we're so glad you're here because guess what you're going to be writing now until forever. And so I've been writing crisis communications since March 13th and squeezing my writing in. I am still getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and getting my writing in. But then I turned to COVID-19 and how donors can help advance research and care initiatives by, some of the smartest and brightest and most committed physicians on the West Coast. So it's been a weird, exhausting journey, and it's kind of, quieting down some until, a few weeks from now, since everybody's getting, white girl wasted in pools and beaches and everything, and COVID's going to come back and smack all of us, and then I'll be at it again. So it's been difficult. Fortunately, I have my husband and my daughter who, get the Randy's donuts and the coffee bean, and they go and get breakfast and bring it back to me, and they don't look, wide-eyed at me when I'm at the table again on Friday nights and writing, because I usually don't write on Friday nights, but I have to get it in somehow. Yeah. And so, fortunately, I love this novel writing thing. When young writers are like, I want to get paid. And it's like, yeah, well, that's only a little part of it. The big part of it is loving it and doing it even when you're exhausted and you hate words, when so much is going on and you find solace in these pages and your pens and all the rest of it. So while it's been a challenge, once again, it makes life interesting and it fuels storytelling. Everything that's happening now is content. And I see it as that. I'm learning things. My characters will learn things. My books will reflect what I'm learning, what I'm seeing, and the heartbreak that we're all experiencing in many ways right now, what my daughter is going through right now, all of it, I'm taking all of it in, and somehow it will infuse itself into my storytelling.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Lori?
Me?
You.
I'm revising my next book. It's the hardest project I've ever undertaken, and I had a bad year with some family stuff last year, so my draft just wasn't what I wanted it to be, and so I took it down to the studs, and I'm redrafting from basically scratch. Ugh. And it's a much better book, I think. It's taking time, and I'm trying to do that while this is going on. So, but Matt, I agree. My life is not that different. My husband and I both work from home. So that's what we're doing. We're working from home. Mm-hmm. But he goes to the grocery store now, which is real nice.
Yes. My husband's doing that too. And he's finally seeing, it's like, well, I went to the grocery, I have no money. And now he understands why I have no money after going to the grocery store.
My husband now understands that choices have to be made at the grocery store. Like, you
can't get all the cereal. No, I can't buy all the cereal because it's $5 a box.
So we have a couple of questions from the audience. So I'll go through a couple of those for us. So Eugenia Parrish says, you all know your area. What kind of research have you had to do for a particular book, like a police procedure? So what kind of research have you had to do for your work? Jeff, how about you? Do you do any research in particular?
Yeah, I got a good research story. It's brief, but it's kind of telling, I think, and surprising. 10 books in, I was writing a book that dealt with this was a while ago, but it dealt with the then new science, if you will, of digitally doctoring photography, changing photographs. And I had that element in my book, and I wanted to know, I knew that the FBI was really good at figuring that stuff out. And I happened to be in Washington, D.C. on a book tour for the book I had out. And I thought, I'm going to go to the FBI and I'm going to knock on the door and tell them what I'm doing and see if they have anybody. And so I did. I went to the FBI, took a taxi to the FBI, and I went up. There's a buzzer. I forget exactly what it's like, a telephone. And I picked it up and I said, this is Jeff Parker. I'm a writer doing research for a novel. I live in California. Do you have anyone there who can talk to me about digitally enhancing photographs? And the guy goes, yep, just a minute. And, blank. And then, hello, this is Rex Tome. Can I help you? And I said, yeah, Rex, this is Jeff. I'm downstairs. Can we talk about digitally? I thought they'd arrest me before they helped me, but he said, okay, I'll be right down. So he comes down and he leads me into the labyrinth of the FBI building, and we go to his office and he sits down and he says, well, my name's Rex Tome. My job at the FBI is to talk to writers, producers, directors, the press sometimes. And also, I also organize the 10 most wanted web page for the FBI. So how can I help you? And I said, well, this is what I'm working on. He said, okay, here's the agent's name that you need to talk to. And so he walked me over there. I met the agent, and a couple days later, 3 days later, I had an exhaustive interview with that guy, and he helped me make the book. Yeah, I don't think they would do that today.
I don't think they do that anymore.
They come on up. Yeah, isn't that funny?
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, just knock on the door, press the buzzer.
Yeah.
Ask for a door knocker, or did you just have to use your fist?
I can't remember. I think it was a telephone. Pretty sure it was a telephone. Yeah.
Wow, that's hilarious. Does anybody else want to tell a research story? Sure. Rachel? Yeah.
For the Lou Norton books, of course, she's a cop, a black woman cop in LA, and knowing that the life of Black women is totally different from, Matt's or Jeff's there. I wanted to find an African-American police officer to talk to. And I did. And, life is, of course, different from them. So they were very happy the few that I did get to talk to, they were very happy to share what it's like to be, a Black woman in a police force. So that was that. I was very happy that they talked to me. Thank you if you're there. Also, and now she's gone, I learned a lot about automated license plate readers, which are the little cameras that in LA had started popping up, and we'd all ask, what's that camera? And they're license plate readers. And, it's not unexpected that cops have access to this information. What is unexpected is my cat he is right here. Regular citizens can get accounts for the data they're able to get these automatic license plate readers in their neighborhoods. And there's a big article in LA Times a few weeks ago about these neighborhoods policing their streets with this data that shows them who's driving cars and who these people are. And that was him again. That's good. That was troubling.
What's the kitty's name? We have a question from the audience. What's the kitty's name?
That was Gus Gus. He had a named Major, and they are named after the two mice in Cinderella. So Gus Gus and Major.
Awesome.
And just walked around Lucky, our golden retriever, who's asleep right over there. Yeah, we have animal hair everywhere.
I miss my dog, and I need a pet in this house, but the book has to be finished first. You understand? Puppy after book.
Yes.
Okay, Matt, how about you? Do you have a research story for us?
They're not very interesting, but I'll tell them anyway. But everybody's brought their pets out. My dog Angus is with his mom right now, so I feel like I didn't bring everything to the party. I'm trying to get. I kind of the research comes as I go because I'm a blank pager and I sometimes don't know where I'm going. But people are always really helpful. That's what always amazed me. And all I can say to them is I say I'm a mystery writer. Blah blah blah. My name's Jeff Parker. And I said all I can do for you when you give me information is I'll put you in my acknowledgments. Right. That's all I could do. So I needed to talk to a Navy SEAL or an ex-Navy SEAL, and I'd seen a Navy SEAL on Shark Tank, the show Shark Tank, selling something, and through that I tracked him down, and really hard to get through his gatekeeper and finally talk to him. And he was very defensive. First of all, he didn't, I was saying I'm a mystery writer, I make stuff up, and I just wanted to get it right. Nice guy, but he was really close to the vest. And so he gave me really good information, stuff that really helped with the feel and everything of an ex-Navy SEAL. And I said, well, like I said, best I can do is I'll stick in my acknowledgments. If you want, I'll even mention your companies. So the 14 people that read me, maybe somebody will buy one of your products. And he goes, no, you can't do that. Don't use my name, man. Don't use my name. So I sort of understood that. Maybe ex-Navy SEAL, maybe he doesn't really want to be connected. Then I was talking to somebody from a woman who's like a VP of a bank. And all I really wanted to know about were safety deposit boxes. And just like what happens when people die and stuff, really mundane stuff, but I wanted to get it right. So she gave me great information. So I go through that. And then at the end, I go, well, once again, all I can do, I'll put your name in the acknowledgement policy. She goes, no, don't do that. I'm thinking, what is it about the banking industry? She doesn't even want to be in some novel. But most people, I mean, everybody's been really helpful. But those are the only 2 people I've ever talked to who didn't want to have their name in the book. Maybe they just don't like me as a writer. I'm not sure.
Interesting. You must have touched a nerve, I think.
Hopefully.
Let's see. We have a few minutes left. So somebody wants to know if you're a pantser, outliner, or a little bit of both. So are you a pantser, an outliner, a little bit of both? Matt, what are you?
I'm mostly right now, I'm a pantser who can't even find his pants. I started as a pantser, and then I was hybrid, used to have a skeletal outline, and I pretty much know where the ending is, even with this latest book. But with each book, you figure you get a little bit more organized. I've become less organized. We call it organic to make it sound like a process. And I don't even know what the hell is happening. I don't know. I can't imagine I've ever written books, but I can't even write in books. Written books before. It's all devolved, but I have the confidence I've gotten it done. So just go with it. I don't let it bother me too much. But I can't even say I'm a hybrid anymore. Strictly a pantser, which is hard.
And I didn't even give a definition for that. Rachel, do you want to give us a definition and then let us know?
Writing in COVID times, not many people are wearing their pants, so it makes it a little more different.
I actually tweeted a while ago that a lot of women are forgoing bras, during this time of COVID. But I refuse, because I need for work life, I need as much separation from my novel life and home life. And so I will wear one for work because it represents that I'm being a formal person.
So what you're saying is that you don't wear a bra when you write mysteries. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Like this morning, I just got up and put on, but I still get dressed for work. I still, brush my teeth, wash my face, do my same routine. And then I go and sit at my dining room table, which is now my office, and I write. And I am an outliner because I am that crazy, and because I do like structure, and I need it to keep me, I like crossing things off. I like checking lists, and I will write down things to check them off just for the sake of the exercise. And so, I will allow myself, though, to wander off the path if something else comes up. And I feel safe doing that because I have this outline over here that will lead me back, So it's like, I was brought up with the Thomas Guide, but then I will, sometimes wander off and check out MapQuest, which is now Google Maps. So I'm a little bit of everything. But I like structure because I need it.
Okay, Jeff, how do you work?
I've written both ways. I've improvised novels from page 1 on, and I've outlined. I wrote a 90-page single-spaced outline once, just because I was angered when my publisher demanded an outline because I thought I was so cool. So I wrote them a 90-page single-spaced outline just so they'd be mad at me. And so anyway, I've done both. And it's been a long time since I've sold a book to a publisher without an outline. So I'm forced to write outlines, basically. And they're helpful. They can be really helpful. A good outline can rescue you. That's happened to me before. A bad outline can lead you down a path to destruction that you should have seen coming. So it's a dicey thing. I think the important thing with outlining or not outlining and writing a novel improvisationally is that either way you do it, you have to be alert for making the story work and making the story better. And if you've pledged yourself in an outline to a story that isn't really going to work, you better change it quick. So I outline and then I abandon my outlines pretty quickly when need be.
Was your publisher mad about the 90-page single-spaced outline?
No, it was great. She called me the next day and she said, yeah, perfect, go for it.
Great. I have a bit of advice for,
You read it.
for writers.
Go ahead, Rachel.
So I still write longhand, and I print out my pages and write on top of that draft, right?
Cool.
So I'm in this in the draft now where it turns into art, where you've done all the hard work and you're glossing it up. And this morning, I'm like, wait a minute, I remember changing almost 90% of this chapter. And it didn't reach my, word draft on my thing. And I went back 2 drafts before, and I'm like, yeah, I did edit this, but somehow it wasn't saved in Word. Fortunately, I had that old draft and I could upload it. So writers out there, keep your old drafts of stuff, because sometimes Word trips out, especially now that we're all on MS Teams doing meetings and stuff. So remember, keep your drafts, don't toss them.
All the paper drafts, and then save as, right? Keep, don't just fuss with one file, save as. And you're going to make changes. You might need that old draft to rescue something from. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me shut down that question real quick. Well, we're almost out of time. There's lots of chatter going on the chat. If you guys want to take a look through there and answer any questions you see for yourself. I've got a real quick end game thing I need to do here. Hold on, I got a script. And it's there. Okay. So thank you so much to our speakers for taking the time to talk with us today. You were magnificent guests of honor here, and we just regret we couldn't spend the whole weekend at Left Coast with you. To everyone who joined us live, thank you too. We hope you enjoyed this presentation brought to you by Sisters in Crime. Sisters in Crime Education Committee and our presenters are always working to improve our programming, so please complete the short feedback survey you will receive via email when you are done with this webinar. I'm glad we do that. I didn't know we did that. Members of Sisters in Crime can view this webinar and a library of recorded webinars by visiting www.sistersincrime.org. You'll find the webinar archives under Members Only tab. If you are not already a member of Sisters in Crime, here's the commercial. You should check out the Join Us on our website. Click on the Join tab where you can learn about the benefits of membership. They are many. And pay online. Learn about Sisters in Crime chapters, both local and online, under the Connect tab. So I just had a couple of notes on some upcoming webinars for you guys. We have June 16th, how to launch a book with Vanessa Lilly, Tony Kellner, and Kelly Garrett. June 23rd, we're doing what writers need to know about agents and publishing. On July 14th, we're doing suspense essentials. On July 25th, we're doing mystery in the Midlands. That's a kind of a all-day session with the SinC Palmetto chapter in South Carolina. And it's going to be with Charlene Harris, Jeffrey Deaver, Gigi Pandian, Alexia Gordon, Dana Cameron, John Floyd, Tara Laskowski, and Art Taylor. It's going to be a great day. We're hosting it for them. And you can learn about all of this at the Sisters in Crime website. Again, thank you so much to our panelists today, who were, pretty awesome, I think. Thank you so much, guys. And everybody out there watching, listening, make sure you check out these authors' books and get them from your nearest independent bookseller or, of course, Mysterious Galaxy. And thank you again to Left Coast Crime for letting us elbow our way in there and celebrate these authors. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Had a great time.
Oh, we need to go get your bird. Go get Leo.
Okay.
Will you go get him and show him to us?
Happy to.
Yes. Let's see Leo. He wanted to be a part of it. He really
is waiting for him
to have something to say. Here he comes.
I want to hear him swear.
Oh, is he blue?
Can you see him?
Yeah.
I can. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's right there. Hey, Leo. Yeah. Say hi.
He's mad.
Hey, Leo.
I tried to talk.
You banished me. It's over. All right. We got to see Leo. We got to see the cats. This has been a good night. And I hope everybody has a good rest of their evening and day. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks
All
for the
right.
time.
Thanks for your time.
Bye.